Now look, you're a student and you want to buy a Mac, and there are so many different options to choose from iMac to MacBook to MacBook Pro to MacBook Air, the Mac Studio, the Mac Mini. There's a lot in the lineup right now. That's why today I wanted to help you decide which Mac to buy. Welcome to the Ultimate Mac Buyer's Guide for Students. So the first thing that you gotta decide on is, do you want a laptop or do you want a desktop computer? It really depends on what you're looking for, and I'll obviously tell you at the end which one is right for you. Now I'm gonna give you three options: the MacBook Air M1, MacBook Air M3, and MacBook Pro M3. Let's start off with the new M3 MacBook Air. Now this is a phenomenal laptop that is extremely thin, really well designed, and extremely portable. It comes in two different versions, the 14-inch and the 16-inch version. The 14-inch is extremely portable. It's the right size for most people, but if you are looking for a bigger size laptop, the 16-inch is also great. It's got a larger battery life, a larger trackpad, better speakers, but most importantly, a larger display. So if you're into design, or maybe you're in a major that requires a larger display for you to see your screen better, 16-inch might be great for you. But if not, the 14-inch will be more than enough. Now the M3 MacBook Air has phenomenal performance. So anything that you pretty much do as a student, normal day-to-day tasks will overrun them. It's a laptop that will run extremely smooth for any student task. Web browsing, presentations, it will obviously do all of that extremely well. But even if you want to do video editing, it will also be a great laptop for that. Now, obviously what shines apart from such a thin design is its extremely good battery life. And that's one of the most important things for students, right? Students don't really care about performance and graphics and a display, even though the MacBook Air already has a stunning Retina display. They just want battery life, and the MacBook Air M3 will deliver on that. And that's why I also wanted to recommend you today the M1 MacBook Air from 2020. Now this M1 MacBook Air is the cheapest laptop in this entire video. And I love the M1 MacBook Air so much. Even though Apple doesn't sell it anymore, you can obviously find it in Best Buy, in Amazon. I'll actually link it down below in the description. As you can see, you can pick up an M1 MacBook Air for extremely cheap. Now, why is this MacBook Air so cheap? It's basically got the M1 chip. And if you don't really understand about chips, it's basically slower, obviously, than the M3. But here's the thing, if you're a student, the power that you're requiring your laptop, your MacBook to run isn't that big, unless you're doing video editing or just like cinema, or unless you have a degree that is more likely for pros, and I'll obviously talk about the MacBook Pro in just a second. The M1 MacBook Air will actually deliver for most students, and the price tag might convince a lot of people. The M1 MacBook Air also has a little bit more of an outdated design if we compare it against the MacBook Air M3, which I just talked about in the beginning of the video. The best thing about this MacBook Air is the price, as I said, but also the battery life. It will last up to 18 hours of battery life, which is the exact same battery life as the M3. So sure, I mean, it's got an outdated design, an outdated chip that doesn't feel outdated, and an extremely good price tag. So this M1 MacBook Air is just perfect. It's just great. If you're really in a budget and still want a really good MacBook, this might be it. Now, before we talk about the MacBook Pro, which is honestly one of my favorite options as well, something that you should always do to your Mac is take care of it. And after your incredible vacation, you've already refreshed yourself, you know someone else that needs to be taken care of in terms of a vacation? Your Mac. And that's where Clean My Mac X comes in. Today's sponsor. It's the best Mac cleaner app to clean and optimize your Mac. It's got over 30 million downloads, so that's how you know it's good. I've honestly used it all my life, and especially if you buy something like an M1 MacBook Air, it will literally make your Mac feel like it's brand new. Because it's basically like if you take your Mac to a spa. It will monitor your battery. It will let you know if your Mac is charging and how much time is left until the battery discharges. You've got Express Memory View, so you can actually find apps that consume a little bit too much of memory. So if you're basically doing your homework and then you're video editing at the same time and you're doing all this stuff, Clean My Mac X will be like, hey, close that. It's doing a lot of memory usage. You've also got overall health features. So if your Mac overheats or slows down significantly, especially if the fans are just spinning loudly, it can check the load and temperature of your Mac's processor in the CPU monitor. It shows uptime, a detailed load chart, and apps that consume the most CPU. It can also protect your Mac of viruses. So every time you install an app, you can be sure that every single app that you install is safe and get an urgent notification if some malware or something bad reaches in your Mac. Mac and infiltrates it, Clean My Mac will just be like, hey, you, can you go away? Hey, he's not going away. Hey, owner, he's not going away. Can you just get rid of this? It will take care of you. Clean My Mac X takes your Mac into vacation mode. Links in the description if you want to download the Clean My Mac X app, and obviously if you want to take your Mac to a spa. Thank you, Clean My Mac X, so much for sponsoring this video. Now, if you need power, if you need ports, if you need displays, MacBook Pro is probably your option. Now, I recommend the MacBook Pro to those students that have a creative degree. If you're studying film and maybe you're video editing a lot. But Nikias, didn't you say the MacBook Air can edit video? Obviously, a MacBook Pro will perform so much better for creative tasks, for video editing, for graphic designing. Also, something great that the MacBook Pro has is this right here. It's actually got an SD card slot. You also have an HDMI port, just more ports in general, which makes it something amazing to have if you're creative like me. The MacBook Pro also comes with the M3, the M3 Pro, and the M3 Max chips. Now these chips will obviously take your MacBook to a whole new level. You can pretty much do anything. If you're into engineering or design or video editing, you can do anything and you will not slow this guy down. It also comes in two sizes, the 14-inch and the larger 16-inch version. So there's obviously a lot more MacBooks that you could buy online, the M2 MacBook Air, the previous generation MacBook Pro, but I feel like the MacBooks that I just told you to buy are my personal favorite laptops if someone asks me, hey, which MacBook should I buy? And don't forget, because at the end of the video, I'm gonna be telling you which Mac you should buy out of all of them. Now let's start talking about desktops, because there's actually a large variety of desktops that are actually great for students. Starting off with the Mac Mini, which is basically this small little portable piece of beautiful hardware that is extremely thin and pretty small. It's basically a powerful Mac without a display. It's got a great price tag. The only thing that you need to buy is an external monitor, which obviously Apple will recommend you to buy the beautiful studio display to go with it, which is obviously the best way to use your Mac Mini with. But if you are in a budget, buying a Mac Mini in a relatively cheap monitor to go with it is also not a bad option, and I've seen a lot of students actually do that. Now, the cool thing about the Mac Mini, even though that it's a desktop, it's so small and portable that maybe if you're in college and your dorm and you want to go back home on vacation for the Christmas holidays, you can still bring the Mac Mini and bring it back home. It's a very portable desktop to have. Now the Mac Mini comes with an M2 or M2 Pro processor, which is a great processor, especially for how small it is. At the end of the day, if you are interested in a Mac Mini, you just have to really add up the monitor plus the mouse plus the keyboard plus the actual Mac Mini and think to yourself, is all of the setup actually worth it for me? Because then you've got other options like the iMac, which is one of the most beautiful designs Apple has ever made. It's a stunning desktop that you can literally put it in your living room or in your dorm room, and it will just make your room shine because it comes in beautiful, stunning, vibrant colors that just makes it a perfect all-in-one desktop. Now, yes, I said desktop because at the end of the day, it is a desktop. And if you're a student and you're on the go a lot, an iMac might not be your best choice. But also, when you think about an iMac, for me, one of the best setups ever possible is kind of what I'm doing right now. I've got an iMac, a yellow iMac, which I absolutely love, and I also bring my iPad Pro with me. So buying an iPad with an iMac depends on what your budget is, obviously, but if you can actually do that, that's also a great choice. The iMac also comes with the M3 chip, which has phenomenal performance. It's got a beautiful 24-inch liquid retina display, it's got a pretty good size, and it's just overall a very comfortable, powerful, compact, beautiful desktop to choose. And then we've got one of the most interesting options. If you're someone that you're like, I don't care about the battery life, I don't care about the display, I don't care if it's portable or not, I don't care about megapixels or RAM or chipsets. The only thing that I'm looking for in a desktop is power. I need power. The Mac Studio comes with the M3 Max or the M3 Ultra chip. It's designed for high performance tasks. It's ideal for video editing, 3D rendering, software development. You've also got tons of ports in the Mac Studio. It's such a good future-proof investment. If you're someone that it's like, look, I do video editing for a living. Yes, I'm a student, but I also do video editing. The investment that a Mac Studio will give you will last you so many years. The amount of power. It also doesn't have a display, so nothing will break. It's just an overall solid, literally solid piece of investment, and I highly, highly recommend it if you're in the creative field and actually are a professional. Now the final question, which Mac should you buy if you're a student? And obviously don't go down there in the comments and hate me. No, I think you're wrong. Honestly, this is just my opinion, and if you were my friend, this is what I would tell you. For me, the best option, there's multiple, but there's one that I'll tell you in just a bit. I feel like the Mac Mini is a great budget option if you find the right setup. I feel like the M1 MacBook Air is the best, by far the best option if you're really tight in a budget. I feel like the MacBook Pro is a phenomenal laptop if you're looking for ports. If an SD card and HDMI port is something that is valuable to you, pick up a MacBook Pro. But if I would have to choose the ideal laptop if you're a student, obviously, the best choice is a 13-inch MacBook Air. It will give you phenomenal performance with a solid display, with incredible performance, with a beautiful design that feels modern, and it will do all of the tasks that require a student life to perfection. If you want to watch my review of the M3 MacBook Air, you can tap this video right here, or if you're debating on which iPad that you should buy if you're a student, check out my iPad buyer's guide, or if I helped you out, you can obviously hit subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.